Trial of the Amazons, issue 1, which has 4 writers, I think, which I didn't write down because there was too many of them.
Yeah, it's basically everyone that's been working on a Amazon book. You got Conrad and
Clunan?
Yeah, Conrad and Clunan. You got Joel Jones. You have Stephanie Phillips and Vita Ayala. I think those are the 4.
Right. Well, it's 5, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you have the Wonder Woman team, the Nubia team, and the Wonder Girl team.
Yes.
And then whoever was doing the backups and all this. And so I've read everything to lead up to this. I was reading the backups. And I was still very, I don't want to say lost, because I wasn't lost. Just a lot. It feels like there's a lot going on that was just informed by those backups. And if you weren't reading everything, I feel like you're not getting the full picture.
Well, I shall jump in here at this point. So I tried reading this. I did not finish it. I read, a handful of pages. I really was like just not feeling anything from anything I was reading.
Yep.
And then I skimmed through the rest, and I saw, okay, so it's basically one by one. Like Yara shows up eventually, and Diana shows up. I saw the cliffhanger at the end, which it seems like a fine cliffhanger to start your big, Amazon event on. Is that Hippolyta seems to be dead, so there's been a murder, effectively. Okay, and that makes sense because it's called Trial of the Amazon, so there's going to be a trial. That makes sense. Right?
That's a double entendre, though, because there's also, you remember the beginning of Wonder Woman 84?
How could I forget?
That's what this feels like they're paying homage to, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Oh dear.
That's the other trial of the Amazons that's going on.
It felt, to me, it was just kind of this, there's a lot of characters talking, and I don't necessarily feel like I'm getting like key points from what they're saying.
No, and all of the voices are roughly the same.
Yeah.
Like the only difference, so every Bana Migdal Amazon sounds the same, to which I started to question which one's Queen Faruka, because every time Atalanta talked, it felt like that was also Queen Faruka. Which is a problem when you have this many characters that most people are being introduced to.
Yeah, it felt messy to me. It felt like it needed to be streamlined a little bit, and obviously I was dubious going into this because it was a crossover with all these teams based on a lot of books that I wasn't reading, that I'd already decided not to read for various reasons. So it wasn't a surprise to me that I ended up not liking it and not finishing it. But I mean, from here on, you actually read the whole issue, so I'll let you take it from here.
So I'll cover this and Nubia because that was the part 2, which I think was a mistake. Because it feels like making issue 6.
Just to reiterate, the Nubia issue that is part 2 of this event crossover is its final issue of its own miniseries.
Yeah, which it's, from what I can gather, everything was wrapped up in issue 5. So this should have been like the Nubia special for Trial of the Amazons, like they're doing with Wonder Girl, right? Like, so in Trial of the Amazons, you have the Bana Migdal showing up to Themyscira to challenge the Themyscirians over the title of Keeper of Doom's Doorway. So like, as we learned through other Wonder Woman books, I can't remember if this goes all the way back to Rucka at Rebirth, or if this was other writers throwing in there, that Themyscira sits on top of the entrance to the underworld. That's how they were able to keep Ares there. And that the person that's guarded, or the person that's chosen to guard Doom's Doorway, is almost the same importance as like Diana, who was elected to go into Man's World. And so up until Hippolyta left, Nubia was the guardian of Doom's Doorway. And so when she was elected Queen of the Amazons and Hippolyta left to join the Justice League, with Diana being gone, they've had almost a rotating amount of Amazonians, which is what the Bana Migdal have taken umbrage with. Is that, if I don't know if you remember, Pete, when I was talking about the backup, they had the Chimera attack, and they said that the Themyscirians sent it because they see we're a threat. That gets brought up again, but it's almost as if... Just
to answer the question, I definitely do not remember.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, this monster attack them. They repel it because Bana Migdal is full. Those Amazonians are fully in Man's World. So So they show up and they, because of this chimera attack, they think that the Themyscirians sent it to them. But it comes to find out that they decide that no, the Themyscirians are doing such a bad job, we're going to challenge to have one of the Bana Migdal guard Doom's Doorway. Which then leads to, of course, Nubia having issues because you're coming here, they're not supposed to be able to get through and bring their weapons in. They do anyways. It's a complete culture clash. And as Nubia and Faruka, the two queens of these respective Amazonian groups, as they're fighting, Donna Troy and Cassie show up with the Escacita, who are Wonder Girls tribe that came from the Amazons, which reminded me, I never finished Wonder Girl. That
You never read
issue.
the last issue?
Yeah, I never got to it. So I'm assuming everything goes well, and she rejects the Greek gods and ends up back with her own people.
See, it seemed to be going that way from where I left off.
So Yara shows up, and they also want to make a play for guarding because they're tied into this now for whatever reason. Which I'm sure if I had read 7 would have been more clear. So as they're deciding this, Nubia or Faruka and Nubia are going at it, and they say Faruka also throws out there is like, well, then also let's add into this that whoever wins the trial to guard, the Doom's Doorway also becomes the leader of all the Amazons, which would of course give up Themyscira to everyone else, and Nubia, makes that decision. They're trying to honor Diana. They're going to do this trial, which is this whole, like I said, at the beginning of Wonder Woman 84, to where there'll be 3 different feats. They all have to be voted on by each member of the different Amazon groups, and each of them get a representative. It's very Triwizard Tournament from Harry Potter, it seems like, because they all can't be the same event. They has to showcase the different, strengths of the different tribes, and so they're deciding all of this, and while they're doing this, Hippolyta goes because she's no longer queen. She's still very much revered. She's happy her daughter's back, and she goes off with her, I would guess, spouse, Philippus, which I guess this is, correct me if I'm wrong out there, dear listeners. This is the first confirmation that we have that Hippolyta and Philippus, who was the woman that trained Diana, were an actual couple. But they retreat back to their quarters, and Philippus is saying how, she doesn't like all this going on, but they have to respect the customs. And, Hippolyta's like, well, we just have to trust that Nubia. That's why, she was made queen of the Amazons. And she's like, well, Philippus, you go out and take in some air, and we'll do this. That's when we get word that Hippolyta has been killed in her quarters. While Philippus is gone, it looks like she might have drank some poison. And that's where this issue ends. It gets into Nubia, which is just everything we just saw, almost from Nubia's point of view, and how it ties up some of the stuff that I'm guessing happened in that book with Medusa, who came through the doorway, who, Medusa, the famous snake-haired lady, now looks like a typical Amazonian. And that she's been changed by her time at Themyscira, and now, she's paid her price. She's no longer a Gorgon. She's now, a member of the group. But of course, everyone suspects her because she used to be a monster. And that somehow the group of Amazonians get together and decide that the person that was going to be in the trial also can't be responsible for the death of Hippolyta. So there's someone in there that just has vengeance on their mind. And it's all just very messy. And it ends with Diana coming to Nubia saying, like, well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. I have to use the lasso, and we're going to get the truth out of everybody. And it's just like, man, there's so many different things going on in this book. Again, with this Nubia one, it just feels like this should have been a special and not issue 6, right? Like, I'm almost upset that I had to pick up issue 6 of a miniseries that's actually just that doesn't, It's almost like
it's a 5-issue miniseries, and then there's an issue 6 as well.
Well, not even that, because like that doesn't impact me whatsoever. It almost felt like this Nubia issue just is they were just throwing out there to have an extra issue. You could have put all this stuff. You could have cleared up stuff in Trial of the Amazons and put that in there instead of having 2 books out, and let the Nubia book have its extra 6th, or maybe it was just a 5-issue like you said, and but why tag it onto here? It's weird.
Or just call it like, I mean, if anything, it's annoying that they're doing all this crossover stuff. Like, just have it be Trial of the Amazons 1 to 6 or 1 to 5 or whatever. Like,
right. And now this is going to end up Wonder Woman, which I was enjoying, and now it's like, well, do I want to read it? But everything's so messy because there's a murder plot, there's the trial plot, there's the Banner McDowell who seem like they're not going to play by the rules. You have the Escacita who knows how they're gonna play into all of this? They're just there now, because I never finished. It might have been in there, and I might have skimmed over it because this book took me. I started it Wednesday, and I did not finish it till yesterday, on a Friday. So it took me 3 days to get through all of this because I would stop and start, and I'm like, what else do I have to read at this point? Go back, read Urban Legends and stuff. So. Yeah, man. Maybe it's in there. They explained it better, and I'm just forgetting because of the piecemeal way I read this one. But it all just feels very messy, and it almost feels like an event for the sake of an event, which those are never good. Like, if you're gonna do it, I want the story to feel like it's justified, and this kind of just it doesn't. And it sucks because I wanted Nubia as they introduced that character. What was that, back in Future State?
Oh yeah, I think it was another backups of like something. Yeah, it was like the backups in Wonder Woman book. Yeah.
Yeah, because that felt like it was gonna do some of this like fun mythological stuff and where she comes from and how she's not quite a typical Amazon, and here she's almost just a typical Amazon, and it makes her besides being queen, it doesn't make her feel that special at all, which kind of sucks because that's not what we got in the 2 issues that I enjoyed. And then just her series ended up being a mini. Almost just felt like they dropped the ball somewhere. We know the mess that's going on with Wonder Woman, or with Wonder Girl, rather, and how they cut the last 2 issues of those and tied them into this. So yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe depending what else is out next week, maybe I'll try Wonder Woman, but it's tying into this, and I kind of like. Yes, I want to know who killed Hippolyta, but I don't kind of care who's gonna win the trial to guard Doomsday, because it doesn't feel like it's going to matter at all. And I know that that's a crappy justification for wanting to read something, but looking forward in the previews, right, and the solicits, we kind of know that whatever the next Wonder Woman story that's going to pick up kind of doesn't deal with any of the fallout from this, right? It just feels like it's picking up that thread of who was on Themyscira before from the annual. So I don't know. Like Pete said earlier, maybe this just should have been more of or Trial of the Amazons 1 through 6. And, just when you think Wonder Woman's getting her act together in that section of the DC, something like this comes over and kind of upsets the cart.
I mean, the good news is that when this is over, it's returning to a plot in Wonder Woman that I think we were all into from the annual or whatever. I think it was the annual anyway.
Yeah.
Set up this.
It was.
Yeah. So hopefully, we can enjoy that as the time comes. What are you rating Trial of the Amazons, though?
So Trial of the Amazons, because it's such a slap shot, like, there are 4 different artists, a bunch of different writers. The voices are all off. I'm going to have to give it a 5.
Whoa. There you go.